Hi, this is Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Enjoy.
Oh my gosh, look at all the lovely, lovely people that are already in the chat. Hello, this is the 7062 podcast. I am your host, Stephanie K. And oh my gosh, this whole thing is just really okay. So this is the fun stuff that happened tonight. I was all set up here in plenty of time, started playing with everything to get set up. And what the hell happens? But my computer decides to take a crap, and my desktop computer is currently trying to fix itself. So I don't even see my overlay. Hold on, where is it? There it is. There we go. At least there's my overlay. Oh my God. It's just been such a wild ride today. My poor computer. Hey, Melissa and Robert, my poor computer. Look at that. Mohammed's even here early. Oh my God. Hi, Melissa. I love you too. Thank you so much for joining me. I know, and you're joining me for a very specific reason, and we will get to it, I promise. I was actually just looking for better lighting because, like I said, I'm on my laptop computer and it's set up really weird. But I can't find my O-ring. So we are just going to do exactly what we're going to do. I'm not going to play with the layout anymore, so you don't get the fun, funky Starscape background. You are here early, Tiffany. I'm so excited. We were just talking on WhatsApp, and here you are. So glad to see you. And I'm really glad you're here too, because you guys are all going to be interested in the mid show stuff that I'm going to talk about. And there's a reason why I offered to talk about it tonight too, and we're going to get to that. Top of the evening, Dave. All right, before I forget, Dave, thank you so much. It's here, my battery, my gorgeous, huge battery, my gift from Dave. Thank you so much. This is going to be making me and my Surface Pro and the show mobile is going to be so much easier now that I have a battery backup to the Surface Pro. So thank you so much. I haven't had a chance to test it yet. I actually might have a chance to test it on Sunday. So we're gonna give this a go on Sunday. I think I'm gonna be out and about, and I'm not gonna go live. I'm not gonna have a show on Sunday, but I might have a chance to test it with the Surface and see how well it works. Wait, does this mean I need to download WhatsApp? No, Melissa, you're good. You're good. I was talking to my friends, my Wash Gang friends in the Discord tonight, and they inspired me to do something, and we are going to get to that. First, let's start with happy first day of spring. I didn't realize March 20th was the first day of spring, but it is. So happy first day of spring, everybody. I love spring. I love coming out of winter, even though for all we know, it's going to snow in April to make up for the fact that it hasn't snowed here. I'm just hoping that the rest of the country got all the snow that New Jersey was supposed to get, because we got like a dusting not too long ago, and that was pretty much the end of it. All right, so let's see. Picard. I was maybe 2 hours away from when I was going to sit down and watch Picard on Saturday, and it got spoiled because of a random tweet that I'm not following this person, but Twitter threw them up in my feed, and before I knew what I was reading. I was reading a Picard spoiler, and I was really pissed because it was a big one for the show. And I'm going to tell you, there's something very big happened on Picard. So if you have not watched the latest episode of Picard, we're about to talk about it. So mute it, mute it a little bit, whatever you need to do to walk away for a couple of minutes. If you don't want to hear, because I don't want to spoil the big one for anybody else, even though technically this is outside of the spoil window. I consider the spoil window anything that happens between 48 and 72 hours after a show, and then definitely 72 hours after a show drops. If it gets spoiled, that's kind of on you for choosing not to watch it, so I'm annoyed with myself because it was Saturday and I was so close to watching it, but kind of outside the spoiler range. So what was spoiled for me was that it looks like Ensign Ro is gone. It looks like she died. I'm still hoping, because we never saw her body, I'm still hoping she figured out how to get over that transporter lock and she's hiding somewhere on the Intrepid. That would be great. I think that is that's still a hope. You never know. Big comeback at the end, because you know what? Picard is getting known for, let's bring somebody back just to kill them off. I mean, the whole thing with Hugh. I don't know. She probably is done, but until they roll the credits on the last episode, I am just going to hold out hope. Kelly, you made it! Greetings from across the pond. We've got our Canadians. We've got our English humans. We are once again international. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Yes, exactly. I'm still salty about Hugh too. I agree with you. I am still very salty about Hugh. And seeing they did it again. Now, Ro wasn't necessarily as beloved a character as Hugh, but still, to bring her back, that's going to be what Picard's known for, and that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. At least they didn't do it with Worf, but I figured they weren't going to do it with him. And seriously, what the hell is up with Jack? Can't wait to find out where all of that is going with Jack. What's really funny is everything's in red, and all I can think about is Discovery and the Red Angel, and we all know that that's not what this is, but it just seems like all. Hey, JR. Yes, thank you. Thanks. JR is with me. Oh, by the way, JR, thank you. Guess what else I got? Your buttons. I've got buttons for the Quiet Con that I'm going to in Pomfret, Connecticut. Thank you, JR, for doing all these fabulous buttons. I've got buttons. I will be giving them away in Connecticut, and I'm so excited. Thank you. That convention is at the end of next month. It's January 29th. It's the last Saturday in January. JR made those for me. They're amazing. He even crisped up my logo so it looks gorgeous, and I'm so excited. Quiet Con, big noisy bang of buttons. Exactly. There is nothing quiet about me. I hope that they understand that when they invited me. I mean, they did invite me to do a show. So if anybody can make it to Pomfret, Connecticut, at Grill 37 for the Quiet Con, it would be great. It's from 10 to 5 on Saturday. Like I said, mix in a visit to Boston. It's only about an hour from Boston. For anybody that grew up on the East Coast and's ever heard of Friendly's, the first Friendly's was actually in I never remember wearing them in Connecticut. In Massachusetts, the first Friendly's restaurant was opened in Western Mass. You've got Springfield. Yeah, exactly. I'm not quiet. It's part of my charm. Exactly. There you go. Exactly. And you all appreciate that, which I love. No, they're not chocolate. Maybe that should be next on my list. Chocolate buttons would be a really good one, though. Exactly. Loud and proud, baby, especially for International Women's Month, which is what we're going to get into talking about later. More women in Star Trek. Okay, my Mandalorian review for the week. Not enough Baby Yoda. I sort of understand why this was it was like beginning and end. They bookended Baby Yoda in this other story, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell this story is about. I'm sort of kind of interested, sort of kind of not. Somebody actually said it's a trap with a Mon Calamari in the room. So that that gave me a chuckle. But what the fuck is up with the Mandalorian in this secondary story, which eventually I'm sure is going to wind back into the Mandalorian himself. And I'm glad that everybody believes now that he's redeemed, because I would have been really sucky if they didn't believe me. Yes, very little Grogu. And, when there's no Grogu, you sort of lose me. We are what we are, and we are awesome. Bingo. That's absolutely right. We are what we are, and we are awesome. Putting Grogu thing in with Boba Fett show was so weird. Yeah, the end sorry. Yes, the end of the Book of Boba Fett was basically just like the first couple of episodes of the new season of Mandalorian. And yes, it was a very weird detour this week. It was kind of super weird. Oh yes, he told them to shut. Yeah, there you go. Let's see, but I want to see the Mythosaurus. Okay, so let's see. Oh, you mean the thing in the water, Dave? The creature in the water from the last. Yeah, I think I have a feeling you don't show a giant creature hiding under the water in a show and then not go back to it. That is my, if we're talking about the same thing, that's my conclusion. Okay, so let's see. Talked about Baby Yoda, talked about Picard. Shuttle Pod Show. I have a very part-time job that I work some Sundays, and this Sunday happened to be one of them. So I cannot really review the Shuttle Pod Show. I loved what I heard, which was very little because I was splitting my attention. I was focusing very much on the chat. There was a lot of background noise. I couldn't wear headphones, and I couldn't turn the volume up on the tablet too much. So I missed a lot. So I'm looking forward to going back and watching the Patreon extended episode. Don't forget, if you are a patron of the Shuttle Pod Show, you get extended versions of all of the episodes. And just for anybody out there that's curious, the extended episodes, it's not like episode everybody gets to see, and then like there's an extra 10 minutes at the end. An extended episode is just like the director's cut of a movie. It's interspersed. Whatever is extended is interspersed in the entire episode. So don't just think you can, duck into the end of an extended episode and catch what the rest of us didn't see on YouTube. Extended episodes are extended. They put back in things that they had to cut out for time. And anybody who's ever edited a long video knows that sometimes when you cut things out for time, you have to cut them out of the middle so that it makes sense. You don't just lop off things on the end. So what we can discuss is people being disrespectful and judging women based on how they look. Yes, that actually happened. That did happen yesterday in the Shuttle Pod Show, did it not? And Kelly and I made very, very, very short work of somebody that was making comments, which we agree. The only reason this person made comments about the way Gates McFadden looked was because she was a woman. I deleted them once. You get one delete from me. If you repeat offend, you're getting a timeout. They got one delete. I saw the same damn thing literally repeated. This is what kills me about people on YouTube. Not here, you guys are all awesome. But this is what kills me about people that attend the Shuttle Pod Show. They'll say something really disgusting and stupid, and we'll delete the comment. And then that should be warning enough. But no, they decide they're going to repeat the comment. What do you think that's going to do? Do you really think we're going to let it go a second time? No. The second offense isn't just deleting your comment. The second offense is you get timed out. And then if you're an asshole after that, you're going to get kicked out. So I don't understand. I don't understand why people think that if they didn't get away with it once, why they can get away with it again. The mods are awesome. Shran is amazing. That's right. Shran is amazing. The Shuttle Pod shows look seamless when they're edited and they're put up. So just think of how awesome it is when you get to see what got cut out. But like I said, it's not going to just be cut out of the end. It's going to be cut out all over the place. It was beyond damned rude. The guy was that word that I don't say in English, but that I like it when somebody British says it. That's all I'm going to say. Kelly knows what I'm talking about. There's a word that I will only ever say to Kelly because she's British and it's cool to talk about it with a Brit, but I don't like it in English. Okay. So as promised, because Melissa's here, and I think, did I see Ange pop in? Kelly's here. Tiffany's here. And I know Ange, if she's not here, she said she's probably going to watch it some other time. Oh, Janine, you're welcome. I am not alone. I have some fantastic moderators. Kelly's a moderator. It is the best word. Kelly's a moderator. We've got some other people that we moderate with, and it really does take a village when you've got 1,000 people watching and so many of them are in chat. So thank you very much for saying that. And I share that credit with my fellow mods for the Shuttle Pod Show. Okay. Without further ado, this is a mini version of Con 101, specifically relating to STLV, because Melissa is thinking about going. And she was in the Discord today and she was asking a lot of questions. And because I hate typing and I'd rather talk. And because honestly, I'm going to be honest with all y'all, and Kelly knows this already, I could not find anybody that has ever put together a list of like the top 10 female-driven episodes of Star Trek. There, you look up, you've got top 10. You've got the disgusting, like the hottest women of Star Trek, which I, of course, ignored. You've got all these interesting lists. Nobody's ever sat down and said, these are the best episodes of Star Trek that were female-centric. So Kelly and I just brainstormed. So the list is really light. So you guys start thinking about your favorite episodes of Star Trek that's centered around the female characters while I do this really quick Con 101. Yes, you have questions, and here we go. So the first thing that I always tell anybody that is thinking about going to STLV, you have two options of where to stay. Stay at the Rio. If you're going to stay at the Rio, do not use Creation's website. Use Caesar's website. Sign up for a Caesar's Gold Card. Even if you are not anywhere near any of their casinos, even if you will never use the Gold Card again, except to go to the Rio for STLV, it's worth it because sometimes you get some discounts. So sign up for the Rio Gold Card. Do not use Creation. The Rio Caesars has cheaper rates on their own site than you will find through Creation. The other place you can go is Vegas.com. Vegas.com has some really good rates. So either use Caesars or Vegas.com first. Don't use the Creation because in this one instance, their group rate is for shit. There's a Facebook group that does the convention, and they tried to get group rates at the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is much cheaper. So especially if you're looking to stay, for a longer time, stay at the Gold Coast. It's about a 15-20 minute walk from the Gold Coast. You have to come out of the Gold Coast. You have to go across the Gold Coast parking lot down, and then it's crossing the side street, and you're at the far end of the Rio. The minute you walk in the Rio, you still have to walk all the way down the convention center. But trust me, you're saving yourself some money. You're getting your steps in. Make sure you stay hydrated. Bring your own water bottle. They have water stations all through the convention floor. You are still going to have to hike. It's about a half a mile from the Rio rooms to get to the convention floor. So add the Gold Coast on. You're probably looking at 3/4 to a mile of a walk every day. Yeah, the Warp Bubble one. It's called Remember Me, Nancy. That's one of the ones on my list. What is the 2 Beverly episodes? She was in the Warp Bubble and the one with the sun shields. Not sure. You'll have to refresh my memory about the sun shields in a little bit. So do not stay anywhere else, because anywhere else you're going to have to incur Uber or Lyft. Uber. Yeah, I know, Kelly. Uber. If you stay in the Rio, you can rent a scooter. They have scooters. They have motorized scooters, which trust me, in the auditorium can be a pain in the ass if you're not on an aisle seat, because you can't leave them in the aisles because it's a fire hazard. I learned that the first year that I was volunteering. You can't leave the scooters in an aisle. So if you're going to rent a scooter, then that's a good thing if you're staying in the Rio, but it can be a little bit of a pain for whatever it is that you want to do once you're in the convention. If you're going to go to a panel, you got to kind of park your scooter and then find your seat. Trust me, because they will get on your ass about it. Because the fire hazard, they've been threatened with being shut down if the scooters block the aisles. So yeah, I made the mistake the first year renting a car and driving. And the other thing too is that if you stay in the Rio, you stay in the Gold Coast, karaoke, everything runs late. People hang out at the Masquerade Bar till all hours. People hang out at the iBar. There's so much going on at all hours during the day that you're not going to want to leave. And so when you do, if you leave at like 2 or 3 in the morning, if you're a night owl, and then you got to go back to your hotel room, it's just not worth it. And it's not worth the extra added expense. So you're going to want to stay in one of those two places. Melissa also asked me about volunteering. I volunteered my first 2 years, and it was great because I got in for free, and they do pay. I believe they still do pay. Not as much as they used to, but they do pay. So it's not going to cover your room really per se, but it's going to put a little bit of money back in your pocket. The other benefit of volunteering is you get 50% off coupons. Every day that you work, you get a 50% off coupon. The 50% off coupon is good for Creation autographs, which means anybody that is not in the vendor's room. I'm sorry. It is not for everybody. It's also good on photo ops, but they are specific photo ops and autographs. And if they pick you to volunteer, you will get an email right before the convention telling you what your 50% coupon are good for. It was actually good for William Shatner. I got a William Shatner photo op for $25. It's $100. I had my 50% off coupon. I made a really good friend of one of the volunteers, and she and I split the cost. We were both in the picture, $25 each. I got a $25 picture with William Shatner. So those are definitely the perks. The downside, they pretty much own you for the week. Can you go see panels? Yes. If you will find out who your supervisor is. There's a supervisor for the auditorium. There's a supervisor for photo ops. There's a supervisor for the vendor's room. Somebody, wherever they put you, you're going to have a supervisor. All you need to do is tell your supervisor, hey, I want to go to the enterprise panel. They won't promise you anything, but your supervisors are usually pretty cool. They'll let you go. In fact, my first year, I wanted to go to the enterprise panel, and they had me stationed somewhere, and my supervisor actually filled in for me to go see the enterprise panel, which I thought was freaking amazing. Okay. That depends on what you want to do. Copper is great if you don't care about the extras, because copper gets you in and copper gets you an assigned seat. And assigned seats are great. They're a little further back, but at least you don't have to worry about where you're going to sit for a panel because you have an assigned seat. So it's worth it for that. The gold and silver, they come with autographs. So that's always a perk, is you don't have to shell out, whatever it is that you shell out for your pass also covers some autographs. But I think the list of autographs is out now because people were talking about who they were going to get. Early entry on vendors night is nice. If you want to go to some of the events, like the dinner, there are dinners and things that you can't get a la carte. Gold, copper, and silver all get into the Saturday night gala, which is nice. If you're into that, get you into the gala. The general admission, it would be an a la carte. So there are a few things. There's a couple dinners, but karaoke's open. Karaoke's even open to people that don't have passes. So there's a lot of stuff that's open that you know. So it just depends on how you feel about your seats and how you feel about the dinner. There's a silver dinner and there's a gold dinner. Those are really the only other things. And like I said, the autographs. If you're a big autograph person and the autographs that the people that they're offering for autographs are people that you want, then yeah, it can save you some money, because you're going to get the autographs on top of an assigned seat and a dinner. So there's a night that you don't have to worry about feeding yourself because there's a dinner. I've heard the dinners aren't great. They've kind of gone downhill since they started doing them, but it is an extra added bonus. The other thing about volunteering, like I said, is they own you. Like and for those of us that have become friendly with some of the people, some of the actors, you are not allowed to fraternize with the actors, even if you know them. I've gotten in trouble for saying hi to JG. I've gotten in trouble for talking to Dominic Keating. And that was at karaoke. That was after hours, and I still got in trouble for talking to him because people know my face, is what the person told me. Literally, it was after hours. I was in street clothes. There was nothing that ID'd me as a volunteer, but I was told I should not be trying to talk to him because he's one of the actors. So there's you can absolutely go get autographs and photo ops, and then you can interact with them in the moment. But if they catch you on a break talking to somebody, because like Wash Gang, Connor and Dominic know who we all are now. If you were volunteering and you walked past their table and they said hi to you and started a conversation with you, and one of the managers caught you, they're not going to kick you out, but they'll get on your butt about it. Because like I said, it happened to me. So I know that they frown on that. Yeah, exactly. It's one of the reasons I stopped doing it. That is literally one of the reasons I stopped doing it. It's like, if you're going to tell me that I can't talk to people that I'm friendly with, then, I mean, it's just not worth it to me anymore. And then, so the last couple of times that I've gone with groups. I've worked with groups. The last 2 years, I've worked with Lambda Quadrant. This year, some exciting news. This year, I am not going to be working with Lambda Quadrant, but Shuttlepod Show is looking at attending STLV. Literally just happened, literally just started talking about it. So we literally do not have any more news outside of we're in the chatting phases, but it's a really solid maybe, and it's a really solid, let's start the exploratory work to see how we're going to work this out, how we're going to make it fit into the schedule and the budget and everything else. And let's, try and get our butts out there and have a presence in the vendor's room. So that is, and I did get permission to talk about that. I'm surprised Mark's not here to back me up on this, but that's okay. I'll bitch to him later. Yes, SPS road trip to Las Vegas. For those of you that don't know, the shuttle, Las Vegas is August 3rd to August 6th, which means I will be out there in Vegas August 1st to celebrate my birthday. That is always in the plans. I like to go out early. That is something else about STLV. Do not plan anything else out. I mean, if you've never been to Vegas before, you want to do Vegas, come out a day or two early, stay a day or two later, but don't try and plan anything during STLV because you're either going to be too tired. I remember the first year, or you're just not going to have time. I remember the first year that I worked. The last autograph sessions of the day always run long. You're almost always going to be there until after the convention itself is closed. Listen, if you bought an autograph ticket, you're in line. They're not going to shut you down. But if you're one of the last people in line for an autograph ticket, and I just remember I was working the autograph lines, trying to make people happy. And I heard people complaining because they had tickets to share. And oh my God, we're in this line. And because you don't know what the schedule is until you get there. So these people plan to go share, but now they're stuck in an autograph line and they paid for both. What are you going to do? I don't remember. Usually you can, we're not, the creation people and the creation volunteers are not horrible people. And they will move you up if you have a valid reason. And I'd like to think that those people got moved up, but that's still, now you've got to go back to wherever you're staying, change, shower, whatever it is that you can do. And go and do your thing. So I highly recommend, do not plan anything. Do not schedule anything on convention days. Hey, Linda, do not schedule things on convention days. Don't forget, the hotels have a concierge. If you find yourself with a free night, maybe Friday night, there's nothing happening at the convention you want to do. You got a copper ticket. There's nothing going on. You don't want to go to them, whatever. Go to the concierge and ask them if there's something fun that you could do in Vegas, like last minute. That's what they're there for. They're there to, oh, well, look, guess what? There happen to be open seats at XYZ. You can go down the road to Caesars and go see this, or you could go. So, yes, excellent question, Nancy. Click my like button, please. Would really appreciate it. Oh, didn't mean to click on that, Kelly. Okay. So concierges are there to find you last minute stuff. So if you really want to do Vegas and you happen to find yourself with an open night during the convention because there really isn't anything else going on and you want to go do something, that's awesome. But don't plan anything because you don't know, because they don't release the schedule till right before, and the schedule can change. And with my luck, I would do something and then, want to really do something. And then I would, the one person whose autograph I want is at the end of the day. Pre-buy your autographs. The way that that's the other thing. The way that the autograph line and the photo op lines work are by priority. If you're gold and VIP, you get to the front of the autograph line. So that's the way it works. The gold, the silver, and then they start calling autographs. If they're creation run autographs, this does not obviously count for the vendor room. If they're creation run autographs and they're in the auditorium and they start calling you by rows. The last people that ever get called, the last people in line, are the people with the printed tickets that they purchased at the convention. They do sell autograph tickets at the convention. They're the only thing, you're saving the fees. If you buy the tickets at the convention, you're saving the fee as opposed to buying them through creation. But if you buy them through creation and you have the printed PDF, you get to get in line sooner than the people that buy them at the convention, because the people that buy them at the convention are always the last ones called. So if you're not going to do gold or silver, so that you can get, it might actually just be gold, like gold and VIP. If you're not going to do gold and VIP to get to the front of the autograph lines, I highly recommend buying your autograph or your photo ops before the show starts. Metal pass is worth anything if we do not care about the autographs. Metal passes. You mean the shiny pretty You mean the shiny pretty badge that you get? It's just a shiny pretty badge that you get. Oh, you do get collectibles though. There's a collectible coin, I think, again this year. There's a collectible coin that you'll get that is only given out at the convention. So, there's a couple, like I said, but is it worth $900 or whatever they're selling copper or selling gold for now? Not really. No, the passes are just pretty passes. They're just pretty passes. It's really not like I said, there's collectible pens. There's collectible pens they did one year. There's collectible coins they did. And I think do you get vouchers for, they do vouchers for merch, and I don't remember what those vouchers are. That's funny. I'll see if I can find you something shiny there, Kelly. I know people who know people. But yeah, like I said, I mean, if you're doing it on a budget, I would go copper. Gold is just like, personally for me, the other benefit to gold though, and this is only if you're going to be a lifer, the other benefit to gold is that the Sunday that the convention ends, you can actually go up and buy your seat for the following year. You can buy your same seat, reserve it, and you're set. And a lot of people do that. That's the other thing. I'm not sure gold pass wise what kind of really, really, really good seats are left, because like I said, there's a lot of legacy people that have like the best seats in the house because they buy them every year. Kelly, you're just unpredictable, period. Don't blame it on the time clock. Don't blame it on the 2 a.m. Yeah, I mean, they have nice perks. They all have nice perks. Gold, silver, but it really comes down to what you're looking to spend and whether or not you think the perks are worth it. I'm one of those people that, you know, if I had the money, if I could like spend the money without blinking, I would do it. But I would have to blink. And for me to blink, I'm not willing to spend that kind of money. It's funny. I'll tell this story. I had a friend who used to get on my case all the time. She never understood why I love these conventions. And she used to bitch about the fact that the stars, charged for their autographs, because she was an up and coming country music singer. And wherever she went, she signed autographs for free. And obviously the first response to that is, honey, you're not at the level of an actor that has been on a successful TV show. There you go. Let's start with that. And I would try to explain to her the convention structure and how that pays for their appearances. She didn't want to hear it. She would never do it. Well, we all know creation doesn't just do Star Trek. They do other franchises. Well, they do the Vampire Diaries. And this friend, her daughter loves the Vampire Diaries. So I come to find out that she bought gold passes when the Vampire Diaries were in New Jersey a few years ago. She bought gold passes for her and her daughter and her mom. Well, so that was over $1,000 for the three of them to go. And I'm thinking, this woman who used to yell and scream at the top of her voice at me about stars that charged for their autographs and how she would never pay. So she bought a gold pass. Maybe a half a penny for a sticker on the back of a chair that is reserved, but it's really like the sticker on the back of the chair. You paid for that. You paid for your pretty shiny lanyard. Where do you think a bulk of that money went? Those autographs weren't free. Those autographs were covered by you and your gold pass. So it's definitely different when it's a hot vampire. Are we going to start talking about Helpless again, Kelly? Because we could always start talking about Helpless. Speaking of hot vampires. Anyway, so it was just in the back of my head, it was just in the Kelly, you knew I was going to go there. In the back of my head, I was just laughing at her because really most of the money that she spent for that gold pass went to pay the actors for the free autographs that she got. So honestly, that's where most of your money goes, is to the free autographs. But again, it's still a bargain. You're absolutely getting a bigger bargain when you go gold and you get 10 or 11 autographs. I'm not saying that it's not a bargain. I'm just relaying that story because I always thought it was funny coming from somebody who swore she was never going to pay for an autograph. And I'm sure that she and her daughter enjoyed the hot vampires, but somebody actually did Bail. Her daughter wanted to see did Bail. That is the other drawback of these conventions, buying tickets and then having people not show up. But again, they didn't ask my opinion when they started doing it. So, okay, so Kelly, it is time for me to get to the very short list of these women-centric episodes of Star Trek. But I wanted to start with something that I did find out that was very, 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 very interesting when I was researching this. We all know Devil in the Dark, which was a really great episode that talked about making assumptions about life and how you see life, and that life can come in many forms, and, you know, and genders and moms and all these really interesting things that this episode had to say. The one thing that it didn't have to say was anything female. It is the only episode in Star Trek that did not feature a female. No women. I mean, it featured the female rock monster, but there were no female speaking. There were no female lines. There were no female anything. It was the miners, and it was Kirk, and it was Spock, and it was McCoy. No women. And Gene Roddenberry, who we all know was such a proponent about diversity and representation, actually had a little bit of a conversation with Gene Kuhn and challenged him to write inclusive stories, to include women. But it had to be part of the story. It couldn't be cringeworthy, which I don't think was a word back in the 60s, the way it is now. But it had to make sense in the story. It couldn't just be some random woman thrown in there to say something like, "Could you sign this, please, Captain?" and then walk out the door. He wanted that representation, and it got missed in that episode, and Gene Roddenberry jumped right on it. The other thing that I saw when I was doing the research was episodes that reached, what was it, the Bechdel scale? Somebody came up with a scale that would judge things by having women talk to women, whether it be a TV show or a movie, have women talk to women and not have it be about like a breakup or a boyfriend or like the same tropes, and have it actually be real conversations. Oh, hey, Faith. Oh, we've missed you too. Happy belated birthday. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry life is kicking your ass. Hopefully we can bring some sunshine. TOS women-centric episodes. I mean, let's face it, Spock's Brain was a really bad episode, and it had a bunch of women, but they were all stupid without the help of that computer. So yeah, TOS didn't really do, it had women, it had strong women. They just weren't ever center stage for anything. Yeah, exactly. They were all girls in TOS. Of course, Faith, you're more than welcome. They were all, you're right. It was, the women were, you know, Uhura was shown kicking ass, especially in the Mirror Universe, but she was never the center of an episode. In The Changeling, they talked about how incredibly smart she was after she lost everything, and everything just came, you know, flooding back to her. They talked about her intelligence. Yeah, exactly. As long as it was stuff. As long as it wasn't Nurse Chapel mooning over Mr. Spock. That's all. Oh, hold on. Wait, especially for the Bechdel test. Hey, Janine knows about the Bechdel test. Bechdel test. I literally just saw it today. Yeah, if Chapel was talking to somebody and mooning over Spock, it didn't count, because it was talking about a man. It had to be a conversation of substance outside of relationships or men, was my understanding. So what else do I got? Oh, TNG. This is so funny. And this one goes out to Kelly, because we were talking and I'm like, there have to be TNG episodes. Some really strong ones were Remember Me, which is the one with the warp bubble, with Beverly saying, if there's nothing wrong with, you know, if there's nothing wrong with me, then there must be something wrong with the universe. I mean, that's a really, really strong episode. And the other one about the sun thing that I missed, there was the one right after Deanna got passed her lieutenant's test, and then she was trapped in the bridge, and we talked about that one a little bit last week, and all these men are trying to tell her what to do, and she's like, shut up, let me think. That was a really good one. But what was really funny is that Kelly and I were talking about it, and we were, going back and forth trying to think of it. And I said, wait a minute, there was this one with this whole planet that was run, that had like a matriarchal society, and it had Bonnie from Knight Rider in it. Like that was all I said. And Kelly comes through with Angel One, and I looked it up, and Kelly was absolutely right. It was Angel One, and it wasn't the greatest representative episode, but it was showing a society can be run by women. And then that one chick had the crush on Riker, because of course it was a crush on Riker. I'm looking for a quote that Kelly Facebooked me earlier, and I meant to call it up, and because I'm going to get to it soon. Oh, I got to get past our cat conversations, Kelly. Unless Kelly wants to be a real friend and re-Facebook message it to me, because I'm looking for the quote. Darn it. And see, you guys are watching my research face because I'm scrolling on my phone. So what else did we come up with for TNG? Remember Me. Oh, yeah, Remember Me. Does anybody remember the title of the one that JR mentioned earlier with the sunscreen, or with the sunshades or whatever? Yep, same as Connor. That's right. It was the same as Connor. And JG's is actually the 18th. So it goes JG, Connor, and Faith. 19th is a good date. August 19th is Gene Roddenberry and Jonathan Frakes' birthday. Never mind. I found it. Okay. Angel One should have been better being run by women. It was a society run by women, written by men. There you go. That sums it up. Melissa, that absolutely 110% sums it up. Definitely sums it up. And that's the problem. More women writers would have written, you're right, a woman writer would have written a better episode. Oh my gosh, Tiffany's a St. Patty's baby. Happy belated birthday to you too, Tiff. New posts. Okay, go away. Sorry, this computer runs a little bit differently, and it's throwing stuff up in my face while I'm trying to do this. Okay, so Deep Space Nine had strong women in it consistently. Even if the episodes didn't revolve around them, you had Kira, you had Jadzia. The one where Jadzia goes on the quest with the Klingons, which, damn it, I can't remember the name of it. Was it Blood Oath? Somebody correct me. That might have been it. Blood Oath. The one where the Klingons come to collect Dax to go and seek vengeance was a really good episode. It was a really great episode, speaking to gender roles, when it was like, I'm not Curzon anymore, I'm Jadzia. And it's like my old friend Jadzia. It was amazing. It was Blood Oath. Hey, got one. Can't believe I got one, especially Deep Space Nine. Thanks, guys. But that was really good. Watching Jadzia kind of play with the boys, I thought was a really great episode. I've always loved Jadzia, and that kind of back when I was growing up would have been a tomboy. I always loved that. about Jadzia. How she could, hold her own. She held her own with male Klingons. I mean, it was amazing. It was such a great episode. Anything where you watched Kira dealing with her traumas of fighting in the Resistance and everything that she had to. Aw, thanks, Faith. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Melissa. What is Melissa saying? DS9 is the best Star Trek show because it actually develops deep characters, which include women, non-binary, etc. Yes, that is an excellent point. And like I said, that one sentence where I'm not Curzon anymore, and was it Klang that just turned around and said, Jadzia, my old friend. That was amazing. Yeah, Kira had a lot of trauma to overcome, and you got to watch her deal with it, and that was really well written, and of course well played by Nana. I just caught the end of Deep Space Nine last night on Heroes and Icons, and look, Moogie bringing all the changes to the Ferengi Society. Core, thank you, Faith. It was Core. Not to mention the Amazing Black Family in the Amazing Black Family in the 90s. That's right. Absolutely. Look, I mean, they had an African American leader of the space station, and he ended up being kind of the de facto leader for the Bajoran spiritual world too. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Faith nailing the actual quote. It was Core that was Jadzia, my beloved old friend. See, I was paraphrasing. I knew some DS9 fan out there would get it right for me. Thank you, Faith. That's amazing. But yeah, you had Moogie completely changing Ferengi society, wearing clothes and all that. That was that episode. I don't know what the title was. I caught the last few minutes before I fell asleep. And I got to see Jeff Combs' Brunt, which I love because I don't watch DS9 on the regular. So I love it when yes, that is why we love our nerds. That's exactly it. There we go. Much love to there we go. Thanks, Dave. Voyager. So the only one that Kelly and I could really think of, and yes, Janeway was in them all. She was the captain. Was Barge of the Dead. Because it was watching B'Elanna deal with a near-death experience, deal with her traumas, deal with being half human, half Klingon. Eric Pierpoint was in it. Had to throw that out there. Love Eric Pierpoint, who actually I tagged him in that post about my rebroadcast. He finally loved it. I mean, it's a couple weeks late, but yay, Eric Pierpoint loved that post. Sorry. Faith. Quote the entire 7 years beginning to end. That's what, one time, a very long time ago, my Mzadi, back when he was in college and I lived at home, I was in college, but I was living at home. He called me once at like 2-3 in the morning, and he wanted to see if between the two of us, we could quote Return of the Jedi from beginning to end. Which I thought was, which we did until my parents overheard me because their bedroom was right next to mine and I got yelled at through the wall. But we probably could have done it from beginning to end between the two of us. And if I tell you, my Mzadi does like the most amazing Chewbacca. And I get to play Han Solo and go, Chewie, is that you? But this is technically a Star Trek podcast. Is that the name of the episode I was talking about? Cool. Prophet and Lance, the one with Moogie. Let's see. What is Faith saying? Is it just me, or am I noticing a pattern of these strong lady episodes also being Klingon heavy? That's a really good question. B'Elanna, half Klingon. Jadzia, Blood Oath, Klingons. Klingons had strong women characters. That's a really good question. I have to think on that. I have to do more research. Like I said, I'm really disappointed that nobody on the internet has put together like the heavy female centric episodes. Somebody mentioned Stigma, which is a really good episode. With T'Pol dealing with what happened to her with the mind meld and catching that disease that I never remember the name of, and Dr. Flock's trying to help her. Well, I was talking about the Mandalorian earlier, but see, if I sat here, I could literally just start quoting Return of the Jedi, and that's not what you guys signed on for, at least not tonight. And just, I mean, obviously, Star Trek has done better. I mean, look at Discovery. Discovery's not just a captain, but the central figure of the entire show has been Michael Burnham, and she is a strong African American character. But every woman on Star Trek is strong in their own way. And, L'Rell, obviously the mother of all Klingons. And we talked about this last week too. So a lot of those episodes are really great at showing women's strength just in general. There don't have to be specific episodes because it goes through the entire story arc. JR, you know what? You bring up a really good point. Number of female directors in Asia. I thought it was a big deal, but some guy thought it wasn't. I had a list and stopped tracking. I was going to bring this up, and you just led me into it perfectly, because Women at Warp back in March of 2017 did a female directors episode. So if you guys want to check out female directors of, which includes B'Elanna Torres herself, Roxanne Dawson, among many, also Gates McFadden, who was the guest yesterday on the Shuttlepod Show. Gates as well. Go check out Women at Warp. I know it's March 2017, but if they're talking about female directors, it's worth it, especially since we're still in the middle of Women's History Month, and 2017 is technically history, so you can go check. You should definitely go check them out. Oh yeah, Pinar syndrome. Tiffany, I think you're right. You're right. I don't know the spelling either, but I think you're on to Pinar syndrome. I think you're right. Thanks. Yeah, they're really, but if and Jadzia was a troll. So let's sit down and look at human females and where they came in strong episodes. And Kelly, it looks like we might actually have to mention this, but Vanishing Point, which was all about Hoshi. Yes, that was actually a trivia question when we were at the that was a trivia question during trivia at the Shuttlepod Show live event. And Dominic was like, "What?" Dominic Convolution. I think that was the one where Dominic's like, "No, that's not right." It was pretty funny. I think that he was like, he didn't believe it was yeah, I think it was the one about Roxanne Dawson directing 10 episodes, because a lot of those were Enterprise episodes. So I think he was like, wait, what? Or all of them were Enterprise episodes, maybe. I don't remember, but Dominic's like, what? Hello? And we're like, you were there and you don't remember who was directing your episodes. Hoshi was, not only was Hoshi underutilized, but I was not a big fan of her character, and maybe that's because she wasn't well written. And honestly, and this was on last night. Wait, Tiff's gonna wait. Yeah, he was sure it was only 3. That's right, it was that one. It was so funny. He's like, she did not. And we're like, yeah, she did. Not sure what you're referring to, Faith. If you want to expand on that, I'd appreciate it. Okay, she did direct Voyager episodes. I wasn't sure when she actually sat in the Voyager in the director's chair, and y'all know I don't watch Voyager, so. Kelly, yeah, because we had this discussion. Share with the group, not the greatest episode, but she did overcome her fear of the transporter to save the ship, even though it was a dream. Actually, I thought a stronger episode for her, and it was just on last night, and I actually slept through it, which really depresses me, but I really needed to get some sleep. 2 Days and 2 Nights. I thought that was a great episode, for a lot of different reasons. Underwear, of course, being at the top of it, but I loved how everybody else was so like, yeah, let's go get some. And Hoshi's like, no, I'm going to go study, and I am going to enjoy paradise by working on my linguistic skills. And she ends up meeting a guy. And I just thought that was great. I thought that was a really fun episode for her. So I just thought that I liked her in that episode. I thought she was fabulous. I thought the best written Hoshi episodes were Inner Mirror Darkly, when she was mean and evil and kicking ass. I thought that was really great. Everything about her was amazing, but then they ran her into the ground with her being too scared and sick. I thought Scared and Sick was okay. I thought I thought that they needed at least one person on that ship that didn't have their quote unquote, that didn't have their space legs. I thought that was pretty realistic, but at some point that has to stop. I was just thinking about this one, Janine. I was just going to mention this one, the telepathic alien. I thought that was a pretty solid episode. For her, there were some parts of it that I found. I thought the alien was a little I thought the alien was a little annoying in that one, but that was definitely, and her willing to sacrifice herself in a way to be like, no, I'm going to be fine here. I can do this on my own. It's more important that I get some information from this guy than, and overcome the fear of having to be here by myself. It's so important. I'm going to trust you guys to come back for me. So yes, I thought that was a really good one. Exile. God, I am. Enterprise is the one that I'm way better at with titles, and I know that Exile is the title of an Enterprise episode. Just can't put my finger on which one it is. So help me out with that one, Kelly. The other one that Kelly and I were talking about, and again, this unfortunately goes back to non-human women, but Bound was a very obviously female centric. It was a great way to get rid of the whole slave girl mythos that had evolved over, since the 60s, and be like, haha, it's all a big cover. They're actually really smart, and they are doing this just to get to you guys. And it's really a female run society. The men all bow to us, and we just do the slave girl thing because we're playing all into you guys and your weaknesses, and we really rule the world. And I thought that was awesome. And then, of course, that leads to Osira, who was Margot Kidder's niece and who was in the third season of Discovery, of Discovery, as the Orion syndicate leader. So yes, and even Tendi on Lower Decks, strong Orion women. They're really playing into the strong Orion women now. Starting out that way. Starting out that way was fine, but growth could have happened much faster, or at least spread out the nerves and not have it be all the time. Yeah, Hoshi was definitely a very one-note character. That's why I like the Mirror Universe episodes, because they're not one note. Everybody gets to explore completely different versions of their characters. Yeah, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just love that the fact that the Orions are like, ha ha ha, you think we're all just this, and we're not. Exactly. Being a fake slave is a really good way to infiltrate and take over an alien ship, as long as Trip and T'Pol aren't on it, which leads to the quote that Kelly gave to me, which of course my phone just, hold on. The quote at the end, this is what Kelly said to me. She said, T'Pol had the best line at the end, and I said, what was the line? It starts with T'Pol saying, at least we've learned something about the Orions, and Reed responding, yeah, the women are in charge. Sorry, I don't do British accents. T'Pol says, it proves that even the most disagreeable species have some positive attributes. And I thought that she's right. That was a great closing line. And it is ingenious. And somebody needs to tell me which one Exile was, because I'm trying really hard to remember. Are you guys really going to make me go to IMDb and look up which one Exile was? Because this is driving me crazy. I can see the font. I can see it as the title of an episode. Or is that the one? Is Exile the one we're talking about? It wasn't my job. Or is Exile the one we're talking about with the telepath on the planet? Is that the same episode and I'm just not catching on, which is totally possible. I absolutely die. The little head shake Trip gives her after she says that. Yay, it was the one with the telepath. Okay, so gotcha. Yeah, because he was. I forgot he was in exile. At the same time as Janine wrote her message. Gotcha. Yeah, see, this is the problem with just me being here, kind of trying to read everybody. I got to get better at the speed reading. And I refuse to wear my glasses while I'm doing this. I do have glasses. I refuse to wear them, though, while I'm doing this with you guys. But anyway, like I said, I'm sorry I didn't have a more comprehensive list. Silly me, was depending on the internet that somebody would have put together a comprehensive list of like the most awesome female-centered Star Trek episodes. And nobody has, and that is entirely and 120% disappointing to me that nobody's done that. And I'm just too lazy. So but yeah, I mean, I think Star Trek, I mean, I know I like to focus on Legacy Trek a lot on the show. I'm not going to lie. Star Trek, though, as far as stronger, more diverse casts, more diverse characters, character building has absolutely, I think, been okay. Yeah, this is very true. If anybody wants to help me research that, we could definitely do our own list next year now that we know. I'll just definitely need help on the Voyager stuff. I definitely think Star Trek has come a long way, and current Trek is definitely doing more to support all the minorities. They are definitely trying to live the IDIC visions of the future. much better, much more diversity. But again, look where we are now compared to where we were then. Even in 2000, even when Enterprise started, they couldn't get a gay character on Enterprise, and and stigma was a metaphor for the AIDS crisis because they were still stuck speaking in metaphor about it. And I'm not taking anything away. That episode was fantastic. And at least it was a very blatant metaphor. It was like, it was in your face. Like you couldn't not see that that's what they were talking about. So at least there was that, but it still had to be in metaphor. Who can do the website? Because we need to put this out so other people don't have to sweat and wonder. There's definitely places to share it. We could put it on I have a website. We could definitely put it on my website. I wouldn't mind doing that. All right, Kelly, what do you got? Reminds me, a dude said felt like he was being spoken to. Oh, right. Yeah, this guy yesterday in the chats mentioned that he felt like he was being talked down to by Gates, and my response was, Gates isn't talking to you. She's having a conversation with Connor, Dominic, and Erica. And she's not talking down to anybody. She's having a conversation. If you feel like you're being talked down to, that's you. That's on you. And you're right. You just can't handle a strong woman. You can't handle somebody. I mean, I don't even understand how that could have been a thing. I'm going to have to go back. Like I said, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch and let the chat roll by to see where they made that comment. Because I'm really curious at what point did he feel that way? Like, at what point was he just so upset and felt so talked down to that he had to say it? I really, 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 really want to see where in the conversation. But like I said, the only way to do that is to watch it on YouTube, not the extended version. So, STLV. I am looking at going, let's see, all of Kira's major episodes. Oh, wait, Melissa's got more to say before we sign off. Absolutely, Melissa. What do you got to say? Oops. All of Kira's major episodes, I enjoyed Janeway being the person, but she also behaved in a very poor way many times. Yes, there's definitely fallibility. I love it when they show the captain's fallibilities. We're not even going to talk about the Tuvix episode, but yes. Let's see. To be honest, Star Trek has pretended to be diverse and female friendly, but hey, failed for many years. Not sure what they're up to now. Yeah, exactly. They have failed for many, many years. I think that they're working on improving that. I think, the writers, I think they're doing much better this time around. Listen, it's one of the things that I'm excited about Strange New Worlds is doing the one thing that Gene Roddenberry didn't get to do. Gene Roddenberry wanted a woman as the second in command. I mean, God forbid, there was no way in the 60s he was going to get a woman in the captain's chair. So he's like, let me get a woman in the second in command. And then he realized that's part of the things that he had to take out in order to get Star Trek's second pilot picked up. So now we're able to at least do that for him. And the stories in Strange New Worlds are fantastic. Oh, Faith, really? Looking at going to STLV too. I'm scared to book a bunch of things and something comes up with the kids, but I'm getting ready to take the plunge. Definitely take the plunge. It's almost April. Now is the time to start. Now is the time to start looking. Now is absolutely the time to start looking. It's not as far away as we all think. Let's see. We wish for newer Treks show your female characters not only kicking ass because of some sort of identity crisis. Yes. Like I said last week, it seems like a lot of the stronger, more focal points of the females they're all having identity crisis. What sucks is they didn't nail down Michelle Yeoh for the Section 31 spinoff, because we know now it is definitely going to be sitting in mothballs, because there's no way she's going to do it now, or at least that's what a lot of people think, because she's won an Academy Award. She's bank now. She's somebody that everybody's going to want for 1,000,012 reasons, and doing the spinoff probably now isn't a priority for her, which sucks, because that's the one I really wanted to see. I wanted to see her come back. She is one of my favorite strong people. Besides the fact you all know how I feel about the Mirror Universe. She was just fantastic. And I thought that just like Killy, just like Tilly, Mirror Tilly was great to see. And Prime Tilly was great to watch her on her journey. Loving Trek and making good business decisions are two different things, though. It depends. It really kind of depends on the business decisions, the business side of things, I think. I mean, I can't blame her. I can't blame her if she decides to at least walk away for now. We don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen a year or two from now. I just don't know if it's going to happen right away because of everything else I'm sure she's got going on now. Having that beautiful gold statue to put on her mantelpiece. So, guys, next week, hopefully we'll have more news about the Shuttle Pod show in Vegas. We all know that I am, I'm going to Vegas. Hopefully I'll be working with the Shuttle Pod show there. If not, you'll just see me handing out free buttons because I'm hoping to have some more left over or not. I know I can get Jared to make me some more. But Vegas, go to Creation's website, look it up. It's the 3rd to the 6th. It's only 4 days. So the full days are Thursday through Sunday with a preview night Wednesday night. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. Like I said, can't wait for the Shuttle Pod show to be there. That's taking planning. And what I know and what I can tell you, you all know we are the Shuttle Pod show after party after all. So whatever I know and I can release, I will. Speaking of next week, we are closing out International Women's Month with the one and only Erica LaRose will be joining me. Not just popping in and out. She and I sitting down, having chats, talking about women in Star Trek. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Appreciate that. But she and I are going to be sitting down, having a conversation, just the two of us. If Mark wants to pop his head in, maybe we'll let him pop his head in, but he's not staying. It is International Women's Month. We are closing it out with just me and Erica, and you're going to get to know a little bit more about Erica and things that she does outside of sit down and read trivia questions and hang out with the guys on Sundays. You're going to find out so much more about her, and I can't wait for that. Let's see. I don't want to miss anything, but guys, thank you so much as always for coming. I love it. I could not do this without you. But again, just to remind you all, I can't do it without you. I appreciate your support, David Gregory. Thank you again for my battery pack. That is so going to help me when I am up in Connecticut. If you can, and you'd like to support the show on a regular basis, become a patron on Patreon, NX7062. If you sign up for some of those tiers and you stick with me for a couple months, you get a thank you gift. So go check out the tiers and see. There's some lovely thank you gifts for everybody. But you have to stick with me for a couple months, but that's going to help me get to Vegas. If you don't want to become a patron, but you'd like to show your support for the show, go check out my store on Teespring and get yourself a little merch, t-shirt, tank top. We're rolling into tank top season. I've got tank tops. Go get yourself a tank top. Or if you're still somewhere, maybe up in the Great White North where it's still cold, I've got sweatshirts, I've got zipper hoodies, all that fun stuff. So if you can, I would really appreciate the support because, going to Vegas and doing all these other cool things, I can't do it without you. So, and like Melissa said, please do not forget to like and subscribe because that's just another way of support. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much for coming and staying up. With me through your insomnia. So you won't have me with coffee tomorrow, but you did get to participate in the live chat. Love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out. And as always, every time, just so I can be sure that I will see you next week, please make sure to live long and prosper.
This is Connor Turner. You've been listening to the NX7062 podcast with Stephanie. Enjoy your evening.